All right, hello everybody. I think it's time for a little real-time drawing video, as someone suggested I do another one of these, and I realized it has been a while. So got the Bic Gelocity. As you can see, I've just got a bunch of random pens scattered around on my desk, threatening to crush me as they pile up around me. But this is the one I grabbed. And I'm not going to speed up any of this or edit it at all unless I have to get up and go to the bathroom or something. I find like I usually start my drawing right here. But one thing that helps is to, maybe rotate the paper a little bit. That can help. I don't have any plans for what to do as usual. Starting with some little shapes and squares, and we'll see. If you don't really know what to do, you can maybe start by drawing some shapes that, cover up a larger portion of the paper, like so. Hope you're all doing okay today. Today is, I think it's Saturday, and there was a really, oh look, some nice smudging already. Beautiful. There was a really nice rain shower earlier today. It rained, but it was just like the perfect amount of rain. The air was just full of raindrops. But it wasn't, the raindrops weren't too big. It wasn't like a storm. It was just really soothing, satisfying. And then it stopped. I won't say it's exactly sunny right now, but I think I would actually prefer rain over like an overcast day. But overcast days can bring their own kind of sort of satisfying melancholy. If you know what I mean. But if you get too many of them in a row, you kind of start getting the blues, I think. Not really thinking about what lines to draw. Just kind of doing it. Every now and then scribbling to make a darker section that I can attach to something else later. One thing, here's a cool thing I found out recently. Let me tell you. So years and years ago, I don't know how many years ago, but there used to be this fun little thing you could do online called Geoguesser, right? Where you could, it's just this website where you could it would pop you into Google Street View. I think it was just like geoguesser.com or something, right? I'm sure a lot of you know about what this is. And many of you have done it, but it was like this cool thing where it would pop you into Google Street View with no information, and then you could pull up the map, and just with the information you could find around you on Google Street View, you had to guess where you were in the world, right? And it was fun, but it was only, it was like fun for a few minutes, to see how close you could get. It's fun to randomly see other parts of the world and see how different they were and stuff like that. But then whoever runs GeoGuessr, they really took it to another level, because they started, I don't know if there's like a paid account option or something, but you can like make an account now, and you can do like online matchmaking, and they have all these different game modes where you can like compete against people. They can get go through these like different competition modes, and you can even get like power-ups and stuff to as you compete against other people to see who can find the spot. Everyone gets plopped down the same place, and whoever is the closest makes the closest guess to where they are basically wins, right? which is a cool. I like that. It's like I don't really play it because it kind of stresses me out. I'm not a very competitive person in that sense, but I like watching if people are streaming it on Twitch or something. But you can get like a power up, like if you do well, that like gives you kind of a lifeline that tells you, you can have it narrow you down. It gives you like an arrow pointing you in the right direction, stuff like that. But the coolest thing I found recently about this is that they have turned it into an actual esport. Basically, and I was watching on Twitch the Geoguesser World Cup. And they had in person, like LAN competitions. They had like I think it was hosted in some place in Sweden. All the best GeoGuessr competitors were there in person at these computers they had set up with in the final days for the quarterfinals and grand final. They had like a live in person like audience of people cheering, holding signs for their favorite people and stuff like that. And yeah, basically it was just like such a niche, wonderfully nerdy thing to watch. And it was so amazing to see how good these people were at figuring out where they were from such tiny amounts of information. Like a lot of them could figure out where they were just by like one glimpse around them, even if they were seemingly at just like a desolate road in the middle of nowhere. But when I say a tiny amount of information, I gotta say they like legitimately study, and they get a lot of information where a normal person like me would get only a tiny amount of information. Like from what I gathered, they have all these different clues that can help them narrow things down very quickly. Like as soon as it loads in and they see the first glimpse at like the Google Street View, they can often know what country they're in and what part of the country they're in just by basic things like the quality of the camera, because they've studied and they know which, based on when the picture was taken, they know when different countries got their street view coverage. If it was fairly recent, then they have like they call it like Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4. Some countries got their street view coverage fairly recently, so it'll be like a higher quality photos, stuff like that. But also it's stuff like just looking at the color of the dirt. Like apparently there's something called they just call it Brazil dirt. Like they just look at if it's some dirt road and they're like, oh, this is Brazil, but it's just out in the middle of nowhere. And sometimes they plop themselves just in a matter of seconds. They can plop themselves down right on the right back road in the middle of Brazil, and it's completely astounding to me. Their deductive skills, but also their training. Another thing they look at apparently is the electricity poles are a huge thing because they're so different, but also so specific depending on where you are. The cross beams, the electrical insulators on the cross beams, the actual poles themselves. They also look at the bollards, which are those little like poles, little things by the side of the roads. They look at the signs. Like if this, obviously what's on the street signs is helpful. Like if it says the name of a town and what language is on the street signs, but even just if the back of a sign like is black or blue or something, they don't even need to see the front of the sign with the text on it. Also, some of these GeoGuessr competitors are so serious, they go to the trouble of learning multiple other languages just to put them at an advantage so they're better at the game. Like if they can, learn to read a bit of Greek or a bit of Indian, I don't know if that's the language they speak there, if it has a different name, but, if they learn to read some the Cyrillic text for Russia or Ukraine, it can put them at such an advantage of knowing where they are. It's so interesting. Also, they from what I've seen, they know the type of Street View car itself, because if you're on Google Street View, if you look straight down at the car, it's like blurred out. But in many different countries, it's blurred out in different ways. Like sometimes there will be a roof rack sticking out the sides, or a couple of mirrors, or the car will be you're like able to tell that it's like a black car or a white car. And then some people will know, oh yeah, black cars are there's only a black Street View car in these 3 countries, and it's obviously not one of those 2 countries. So boom, I've narrowed it down to 1 country already, and now I just have to figure out where I am in that country. But anyway, so it's very interesting to watch, and very exciting too. Is they go through 3, at least in this tournament I watched, they went through 3 game modes as they competed. Is that the right word? Competed. It sounds wrong for some reason. Basically, the first mode they would play is called Move. Basically, they load into Street View and in a random location, and they can move around as much as they want with a 60-second time limit. If one person places a guess, the other person is automatically bumped down to 15 seconds left, no matter what. So there's they can put pressure on the other person. But anyways, so in the first game mode is like the standard mode where they can move as much as they want around on Google Street View and find clues, right? Then the second mode is just called No Move, where they can only pan around in one stationary spot. So obviously it can be a lot harder to gather a bunch of information, like going and looking for more signs and stuff like that. And then finally, they play the ultimate, which seems like a very extreme mode called No Move Panning or Zooming. I think that's what it's called, where it's pretty much just looking at a still image. They can't move the camera around at all. And then they have to figure out where they are. And so many times, like I said, sometimes it's in a city. And I can understand, like, oh yeah, you can see at least like a language or this or that. So, there's more information if you're plopped down in a city. But so many times I was just amazed. They were just on some random road or highway, and there was just, from what I could tell, right, my novice brain not being good at the game, I was like, I would not even know where to start. Like, it could be so many different places, but they would get so close so many times, even with not being able to look around at all, just with a glimpse. It's really, I don't know, just really fun to watch. Just so different and weird and cool. Yeah. All right. So this drawing so far, it's kind of a pile of stuff. One thing I want to look out for is that I've kind of got some shapes here, and they're all kind of the same size, which I don't know if I like, because it's not creating a lot of visual, variation. So I have a chance here to maybe make something that's a little bit different size. Maybe a larger shape here that maybe this thing will branch out with some root-like features up here. I kind of like drawing roots, and roots are kind of like branches, except they go into the ground instead of the air. They're also kind of like, one time I took a picture of a tree with no leaves, and it was very easy to edit it to make it look like veins in a human body. Like, it was surprisingly similar looking. I'm sure that's not a coincidence. I don't really know what I'm doing with this thing coming down here, so I'm just drawing some more shapes. Maybe a nice angular shape here, since there's so many organic shapes. If you end up drawing something you don't like, it never hurts to have just like some well, I won't say never, but I find that usually when I have more like solid black areas, it makes the other areas that aren't solid black pop a little more. And I'm always hesitant to do them, but when I do them, I rarely regret it. So that's kind of my way of erasing mistakes, just coloring them in like this. So don't stress out. There's ways of working with the choices of your past self, even if it's a very near past, like 30 seconds ago. Maybe some more triangles down here to echo the one up there. Maybe another big triangle right here. I've already got part of the triangle shape. Then I'll have like 3 triangles of different sizes. They can kind of reference each other. Who knows? Maybe it'll be cool. Maybe it won't. If I don't like it, I can always turn them into something else. There's something reaching into this triangle. Taking a sip of water here. Taking a sip of water or letting your hand rest for a moment. It's always a good time to, look at what you've got so far. I like this spot right here. It's like a faux border because this part is kind of busting out past it. I don't really like this angle right here because it's so much, it's a strong angle, but I've already got these strong angles and it's like too different. So I kind of want to disrupt these strong angles here. So my triangle angles can, won't be fighting with it. Also, my hand, it feels a little bit shaky, but I think it's just because I drank a big glass of cold brew right now with no food. Need to eat dinner after this is done. But, little things like that can make a difference. How your body is doing, like your blood sugar levels. Caffeine. If you got a full belly or not. If you're stressed out. A lot of times if I feel a little bit more stressed, I end up drawing a little bit faster and sketchier just because it feels good. It's kind of meditational therapeutic. I kind of feel like, it helps somehow. I think I want to make this area under the tip of this triangle pretty dark here. Let me zoom in a bit more while I work on that. Sometimes my hand is like very shaky until it touches the paper. Once I've got the tip of the pen on the paper and moving around, then it's okay. Just gotta start, just gotta get in motion. Darkening this edge up here so it looks kind of like these little tendrils or whatever are going back behind this triangle. And I kind of feel like I want to draw like a line going up the side of this so it looks like a little bit more, it's kind of a risk. I might not like it. A little more three-dimensional, We'll see. But I kind of want to do that with this one too now. And this one. This triangle looks a little bit weird. Like it's curved on one side. So I don't know about this. I don't really like how this vertical line lines up completely with this corner. I would prefer it if it was like out here somewhere. So I might try to hide this vertical line a little bit. Like so. Just kind of disguise it into the midst of things. Making some swirls and swoops and, you know, always inspired by swirls and swoops. Smoke, eddies and currents and fluid. Always liked when I was helping my mom like bake something that required food coloring. Just that initial drop, putting those initial drops of the food coloring in something was always so satisfying. Seeing it swirl around in there. Oh, we still got a pretty strong vertical line here. It's getting a little better. This is a pretty sloppy drawing. By sloppy, I just mean I'm not really taking my time with making sure I, you know, have all the lines perfect or anything, because that doesn't always have to be a priority. Sloppier lines have their own aesthetic and purpose and function, and I don't know, you can do whatever you want. There's no rule in art anywhere that says you got to be careful. You got to do everything perfect. You got to go slow, you know, and I have said go slow before. But usually when I give the advice to people to slow down, it's because maybe it's like obvious that they're going too fast, and maybe slowing down could help them a little bit just to, I don't know, just to try doing it a different way. And then they can, you know, always go back to doing it fast again. I'm not really sure about this shape, this area right here. I kind of like this, whatever this is. Got a nice smudge in here. Some dots. Putting a little angle on the top of this triangle might make it look a little more 3D. It doesn't need to be 3D, it's just kind of sometimes satisfying when it is. Nice quick lines and shapes here. Don't think about it, just do it. Work with it later. Don't know what I'm drawing, just drawing. Maybe something down here at the end of this pyramid. Don't know. kind of want like some little rhythmic patterns here. Building it up. Like kind of like the idea of, you know, like bricks or a stone wall. I could maybe give the bottom of the drawing some sturdiness or something. Who knows? Sometimes it'll look like a brick wall. Sometimes it might look like a bunch of frog eggs or something. It's fine either way. Maybe I should draw the bottom ones first. That way I can have them overlap in the right direction more easily. They look like little loaves of bread to me, though. All piled up here. Big ones, little ones, real big one. Yeah, I kind of like that. Scribbling in some more darkness here. Just the black parts just kind of recede backwards into the drawing and push the white parts out forward. Usually, I think. I don't know, sometimes the opposite happens and I'm not entirely sure why, but I don't think about it too much. Just kind of let it happen. Maybe a few more bread rolls here. Maybe another pile over here. Maybe some hatching here for texture. Yeah. I think I want to have like a kind of arch with bread rolls coming out of it here. What do y'all think about the bread rolls or pile of stones or whatever this is? Then bring the arch down. Yeah, maybe that kind of looks like things are coming out. I don't know. You never know, because you could be looking at it one way while you're drawing it, and then once you present the finished thing to other people, they didn't see what it looked like. You know, the process of drawing it. They could hit them a totally different way once they see it all at once. It's like some weird version of an optical illusion. I usually kind of imagine that the light in my drawings is coming from the upper right-hand corner, like up here somewhere, at like 45 degrees, maybe more like that, up there somewhere. So maybe it makes all my drawings look the same because they're all shaded from a similar way. Like you can see, like the darkest parts are over here and over here. You know, here's the shading on this one. Here's the shading here, like the light is coming from this way. here, dark parts here, like the light's coming here, here, you can see. Dark parts here, since the light's coming this way. Same thing here. Dark part here, because the light can't get in. Kind of my way of creating my own make-believe 3D shapes. You can see it a lot here with these little tubes and stuff. These tubes over here are completely shaded, and I have some little, try to make some little highlights here because there's light coming in. And same with these tubes. There's shading on the left side since the light's coming from the right side. See there? So that's kind of my thought process with shading, but I still think a lot of the time I could shade even more, you know? Like the shadows and differences in light could be more dramatic. I'm still always afraid of losing detail, but I think the human eye and the brain is very good at assuming things and figuring it out and filling in the blanks. And it's a little, you know, I'm kind of insulting the human brain by trying to spoon feed it everything when really it can figure it out. In fact, it probably makes a lot more sense to the brain when I do it right. Well, I don't want to say right, but you know, maybe you don't know. Maybe I don't know. Some little circles here. Maybe some little circles here. Some solid, some open. Maybe some here too. Where else can I put these circles as a kind of, yeah, some circles here. Really only have room for 3 there. Don't be afraid to color it in, Peter. Pick a nice dark area. In fact, what I've been doing lately is kind of doing the whole drawing and then coming back later and just blackening in like whole sections of it like this, you know? Just like, I feel like I'm undoing a bunch of my work. I was drawing in a bunch of details, but then I end up liking it more. So there are a lot of random shapes here, but I still do try to take some elements and repeat them a little bit, like these circles. That way there's something familiar for the eye to bounce around on a little bit. It's not just total chaos. Some hatching here to give a sense of body to these weird root-like things. Curve these lines a little bit with the shapes. A little bit here, a little bit of shadow as this goes under that thing, whatever this thing is. Maybe a little bit more here. There we go. Yeah, this still looks like it needs some more. This little blob, this bump, this lump. All right, I'm gonna drink some more water and look at this. We've got so far. It looks like some weird kind of treasure trove growth thing. Trophy almost. Got some nice smudging going on. I don't even try to fight it too much anymore. I think I'm going to make another little shape here to draw circles on. Circles. I'm liking the circles. Some shading on it. Another little shape behind it. Maybe this needs shading too. Shouldn't have so much light. Either should this or this. Why? I love drawing lines. Love a good line. Let me bring you back in a little bit. I want this thing to kind of be underneath and going in, so let's draw some shading lines there, but kind of wrap them around the shape where we want them. Darken this in, kind of tucking things behind each other, right? It's interesting what you can do with just nonsensical shapes that really have no meaning. Just interesting to look at, I guess. All right, let's make this a little darker here, shading here. Yeah. I could do a bunch of shading on these bread rolls. Like technically a bunch of these should be a lot darker, you know? I'm a little hesitant though. I'm afraid it'll just start looking like a black lump instead of one big black lump instead of a bunch of individual rolls. I'm gonna try to do it a little bit. I'm scared. It's a little better maybe. Do a little bit here. These ones have less shading. Just like thicken up the left side edge of all these. And these should have minimal shading, just maybe in the spaces between them. All right, what next? Go look at this little area up here. This kind of looks scary. I just realized this looks like a scary eye and some teeth. And this is its weird nose reaching down and around. Terrifying. Nightmare-inducing. That my own hand drew that, and then it came back to haunt me later. I didn't even know I was doing it. Not sure where I want to take this. I could go off this way, or I could come back, or I could just cut it off right here, or I could kind of, I could do like some hatching and kind of have it disintegrate. I might do that. I do like hatching. I might do some shading here. I'm afraid to do shading on the triangle things because I don't really have any shading on them yet, and it kind of is making them stand out a little bit because they're the only like not shaded objects. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously they would be shaded. I don't know. You get to make your own rules. Yeah. This pen is pretty nice. It's satisfying to draw with. I used it once before for some drawing back here. It might have been this one. Oh, I think it was in that other book I got. Oh, it was this drawing. I used it for this drawing before. Nice double pager. Just I did kind of some of the hatching up here. That worked out pretty good. I liked that. So maybe I could do some fake scripts like this too. I always like putting those in my drawings for some reason. The bottom of this triangle got a little bit messed up. It's okay though. I think I'm gonna make it look like this thing came from there, like a genie out of a bottle. This side of the drawing is all swirly and swoopy. This side is a little bit more something else. It's got like this big straight edge here and these things poking off. Not really sure what this shape here is or what to do with it. I could have things shooting out of it radially. Like so. I'm not sure if I did this exactly the angle I wanted, but I'm kind of committed now. I think I wanted that this triangle right here to be a little more the center, and it ended up being like right here instead. It's okay though. Still kind of a cool effect. Never be afraid to add some sound effects. Bloop, 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 bloop. Zzz. Zzz. So I'm not sure if I need something else in here. It's probably better just to leave this as a nice empty space in the middle instead of trying to jam pack a bunch more stuff. It's probably more powerful and interesting as an empty space, right? Yeah. Adding a little more of these swoops, swirls, some dots. You can make lines out of dots, and it's just like a little bit less overbearing. Still haven't done anything up here. I'm kind of putting it off, and that's okay. I think I might. A nice dark section right here. Right under, right inside these curves. Still feel like this vertical line here is too emphasized. That's probably just because I know it was there. When you know, you know. It's probably all right because it hasn't been bothering me since, I mean, until just now. So. Okay. Or no random stuff right there. Let's finish these little root shapes. Probably put too many of these in my drawings, but I like them, so I do them. It's as simple as that. I feel like it's a good way to add like some directionality to something without, drawing a bunch of like lines off in a direction, because it's clear these are all going like this. Like lightning. Oh, lightning's another good idea of things that look like tree branches and roots and veins too. They're all so similar. Smudged it a little more. All right, all good. Who cares? Just gives it a little bit more attitude. It's all fine. I think I might add some dots to the edges of these. Maybe just to the bottom edge and up. Bottom edge and up. Bottom edge and up. Maybe I should have brought that all the way in, but it's fine. Yeah, I might just try some hatching here, like so. A lot of the time hatching is scary because it doesn't look good, or it freaks me out a little bit until I'm done with it, and then I sit back and I'm like, okay, that does look okay. But while I'm doing it, I'm like, what? Am I doing this all wrong? Did I forget how to hatch? So you just kind of got to trust yourself a little bit. Let yourself do it. It still looks like a scary face. Goblin. I'm going goblin mode. I feel like I'm kind of giving him like crazy mane of hair. I don't know if I want to keep the face in there. I don't know if anyone else will see it without me mentioning it, is the thing. it's hard to tell what other people will see. A lot of times people see faces that I never saw, and they don't see the faces that I did see. And probably if I try to get rid of the face, what usually happens is I'll just make it look like a more terrifying face. Typically. Let's add some hatching to this side too. A little bit of a background gradient. Make the hatching more dense towards the bottom, and then let it lighten up a little bit. Don't know how much I want to do because it's kind of annoying to hatch between little vine shapes like this. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, I'm just saying. We all have limits to our patience. That's okay. Could darken this up a little bit. Darken this up. Darken this. Darken this. A little more here. A little bit here. Circles. Wow, I smudged that one bad. All right, let me think again. I mean, this is looking pretty cool. I like this. I could put something here, like some nice little accents or something, but I feel like it's kind of cool the way it is. Just kind of a crisp, empty space. I could like draw a thicker line along this edge, or maybe darken this a little bit. The edge a little stronger. Could be a mistake. Could regret it. But you won't know till you try. You just tuck it away for next time. I'm just going to go through and do some final touches here. I'm blurring my eyes right now, so it's just kind of like a blur, and seeing where I want to make things darker. I'm seeing a lot of darkness here, a lot of darkness here, down here, right here, down here. A lot of this is not as dark, so I might want to work on spreading the darkness. I know these things over on this side aren't very dark, but I don't really want to darken them. I could, completely black them out, but I don't want to. Oh, I could have drawn circles here if I had room. Maybe I do have room. That's good enough. Darker. Take a tip from Leonard Cohen. I want it darker. Smudge it up. Blurring my eyes is still not dark enough here. It's getting there. It's getting there. I think I made a good choice with these three pyramid things. Even though they're just simple lines, like, I don't know. I like it. And this is a weird shape, but it's okay. Darker, darker, darker. Just a bit more. I think we're almost there. I can almost be happy with it. It's one of those things where you can kind of keep drawing forever. You just eventually you just gotta be like, do I want to keep working on this, or would I be happier spending this same amount of time and effort moving on to the next drawing? I think I'm about to that second option right now. Plus, there's always the risk that it could start getting worse instead of keeping on getting better the more you keep drawing. And that's one of those things, overdrawing it, that you might only start to get the feel for in time. So don't beat yourself up if it does happen a few times, or a lot of times. It happens to me a lot. I kind of like it like this. Pretty cool. Yeah. Sometimes I sit here and look at it for quite a while, or I go away and come back in 10 or 15 minutes or the next day, usually. But usually I just sit here and think, I think I'm done. Because there's always a million more little spots I can find to keep drawing lines. But got to stop at some point. Gotta stop. Okay. I think I'm going to call it done. Pretty cool. Thanks for joining me on this real-time drawing, everyone. Hope you did okay on yours as you kept along with it, with your drawings, line by line. Please submit them, and I'll grade them, okay? Thank you, and see you next class. All right, goodbye. Goodbye.